Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 420. I am your Joe Dix, joined by Mark Augustiniak.
What's up?
Matt Sellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games, brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week we're going to tell you all about the hot new Game Boy games coming to Nintendo Switch, along with a peek at the future of Magic the Gathering. All of that and more coming up later. But first, how's everyone? Are you prepared for the arrival of... Autumn is here. There's no arguing that. Are we ready for October? The
Look,
month of months.
I usually have a string of... Not usually. It's been up the whole time. I have a string of lights above my bed that are like orange, and they have like little tattered tapers hanging from it. And I wait to plug it in. Usually October, or like when fall starts, and then it just stays on that entire time. And then I just stare at it the rest of the year, waiting for it to turn back on. This time, not only did I do that, but I bought another string. So I feel like each year I'm going to keep extending this line of lights around my room. And then, but yeah, I've been trying to hold back on a lot of it at first because I don't want to I don't think you can burn out, but I think you need to pace it. You know?
Yeah, you can very quickly
keep a momentum
big dump. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm not watching 20 horror movies in a day or something. I'm kind of easing into it a little more. I mean, I watch them year round, but usually in October I try to find the ones that I haven't really watched. So I'm kind of I made my own little checklist and going off of that. You know, I build a music playlist on my phone, listen to that, because before, friends have a Halloween party, I was always obsessed with making a playlist for the party. But yeah, feeling it.
Matt, you think we get trick-or-treaters this year?
No.
No?
Right, I mean, we have a couple.
Well,
did you see that video where I think it's from last year for trick-or-treating, where a guy had this string with a ghost on it, had a little basket behind the ghost, and it would pull up to the front of the yard at the sidewalk, and it'd be it had candy for kids to grab, but then it'd have 2 cans of Bud Light for the parents to grab, and then it would zip back.
Dilly, you know?
Yeah. Could do that.
Well, you don't think we're there yet?
Well, no, this year, I like this. I like this idea, but this year we're going to put the Bud Light seltzers, the sweater pack, or the flannel, I forgot the name of that, variety pack. Yeah, I guess some got hot toasted marshmallow and pumpkin spice seltzer in there.
There you go. You know what? Give that to the kids, Let's just put them in the bags.
Yeah. It's like candy.
I mean,
it's sweet. And how much sugar's in it?
Right, and if they're good parents, they will go through the bags, check all the candy. Sorry, you can't have this one. Yeah.
Exactly. Did you guys ever have any creepy candy encounters as children?
Creepy candy encounters.
I remember us having to okay, let's dump the candy out in piles. Let's check it for razor blades and poison. And
we've always heard about those tales, but we never really practiced because of that. If we dumped candy, it was because my friends or brothers and I would trade and just see what we got. It's usually for that. We never really checked them. I think any remotely creepy thing we'd ever get would be a popcorn ball or a Easter egg full of pennies. Or
what are you doing?
Or
officer?
or a coupon to Kenpo Karate.
Oh sure, yeah. The guy took out too much of his personal equity in opening up a karate shop and had to trick the neighborhood kids.
Yeah.
Matt, did you ever get got?
No, I don't remember anything. At least not off the top of my head. I mean, there was always the roll of Smarties that came undone, and they were just everywhere. Or a slightly opened chocolate bar. But I don't think I had anything. And like you said, Mark, it was whenever we dumped candy, it was an exchanging of said candies and getting rid of all the crap.
Yeah.
And also, why didn't you take that egg full of pennies and you just chucked it at someone's window next year?
Exactly. That's
they just gave you ammo.
There was a white trash kid named Jimmy in my neighborhood, and he said he got an apple from one of the houses, so he threw it back at the house, but like we all got candy from, so I think Jimmy just brought a rotten apple from home and wanted an excuse to throw it at somebody's house.
That sounds right.
But yeah,
you know what? I do like the popcorn balls. I don't want to like fully hate that. I like that idea. I just don't know. You just never expect it at Halloween. Know what I mean? Like it's just you're thinking candy, but now the more I think about it, I think the more I'd appreciate that now.
Yeah. I hope we get another. We had a good, or rather a bad spell after 9/11 that just trick-or-treating just nope. Which we were also at that age where like we're aging out of trick-or-treating per se, but I still felt like everything shifted. People weren't going to houses, and then it got to a point where it's like the next step is like handing out the candy. And then I don't know where you go from there. I guess wherever you want, honestly. I think you just ride the handing out of candy thing.
Did you like the people that would go and scare the kids outside of their yard? Or did you like it contained to their yard? Because like sometimes you had people go up and down the street chasing kids. And it's like, man, I'm trying to get all these houses. I don't want to deal with you. I'm already a scaredy cat. Like, please just stay in your own yard.
I guess the weird thing is, so I remember there was one neighborhood where there was this house at the end. It was like a row of townhomes, and one of the houses at the very end, they always like did it up. They had the like coffin that would open and a thing, and all the lights and the sounds and everything. And there'd be like a guy who would kind of occasionally jump out of a tree or something like up the street, and then they would cackle down there as they're sipping on Bud Lights. And it was just like, let me just do it. Yeah, okay, you're right. Yeah, I wanted to just have it happen down there. Especially if that guy had just jumped out of a tree and spooked us on Halloween. Okay, fair game. You got me, buddy. You got me, pal. But the fact that he was clearly with those people, he just like would see kids walking from afar and then, well, time to climb like that. Yeah, it's a little weird. Just do it at your house, man.
Yeah, it was usually just like a guy with a chainsaw and just like just chasing kids. And it's like, just try to blend in, become a bush, just try to hide.
I've always been trying to become a bush. There was one house I remember, because we would do the big sweep. Like we would do like a walk around many a neighborhood that even just to walk it without going to each house, just to like walk the actual thing, it'd probably take you like 2 or 3 hours just to walk that path or whatever. One of the houses though had a garage that every year they'd convert into a haunted little whatever, so you could walk in and go through the path and like get spooked, and it was like being at a mini attraction, and you'd come out the other side and it'd give you candy.
I like that.
Yeah, it was a nice little break of things. Halloween's just fantastic, and we're there. I think anyway, people listening don't need to hear about the weather again. But it's nice out. I'll put it that way. The windows are open. A little bit. Yakuza, Like a Dragon. That's a video game that came out in 2020. Known as Yakuza 7 in Japan. Yakuza Like a Dragon here in the West. Debuted in the fall for us. It was one of our top 5 for 2020's Game of the Year, which means it's a video game we're going to talk about with regards to our Game of the Year list. Right now, top of the list sits Nier Automata, Tetris Effect, and Doom. And then bringing up the bottom, Super Mario Odyssey, Last Guardian, and Uncharted 4. Will Yakuza Like a Dragon rise above or fall below any of those? I don't know. Matt, you are the one among us who has played this through to the end. I've played a bit of it, but certainly not at all close to quantifying it. But having played other Yakuza stuff and seeing kind of where this goes, like I have a really good idea of what this offers. But yeah, what was your experience like with Yakuza Like a Dragon? How do you like it?
I think the word to sum it up is like, or phrase like, what the fuck? I think like you just kind of get that experience where it's the best of what a JRPG and its craziness and uniqueness and creativity comes out in this series. And I think the one I tremendously love this game. It's one of my favorite games I've played in recent memory. I think the one thing that could possibly hurt this game is like, this is my first Yakuza game. So like all the uniqueness that the Yakuza franchise bring, this is my first time seeing it. So it was all brand new and fresh. I just don't know what a veteran of the series, how they would view this game. With it turning from a traditional, more beat 'em up kind of fighting game to more traditional turn-based RPG. But I thought his systems were clever. The turn-based RPG is nothing. I don't think it brought anything tremendously new, but I really liked how they allowed you to build your class using occupations. I thought the occupations were wild. Like having a healer be a pop star when they were originally like brought into the thing like as a business person. You can change Ichi from like homeless, drawn down man to a samurai warrior or a chef, or all these dumb things that bring your unique traits or whatever. We talked about luck. Was it last week? There's a whole class. I think it's like a gambler class that's dedicated to luck. Like, so you could go for that build or whatever. But I like the way they use the occupations to bring the uniqueness, the creativity of this game. There's all kinds of weird, dumb side quests. The phone a friend and like a lobster appearing to help you out in battle is ridiculous. And I think one of the core things that I really liked about this is it knew when to be silly and it knew when to take itself seriously. And this game has a really, I think it's a traditional Yakuza betrayal, that kind of stuff. But I really enjoyed the story for what it was, both on the serious side and the silly times. And I think they picked and choose those moments particularly well on when to kind of do that with the main story side stuff, things of that nature. But yeah, no, I fully enjoy this game. Like I said, though, I think my biggest flaw is, or I don't know how to rank it because I'm new to this. This is all new. I love it a lot. I just don't know if I would have loved this had I played 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So yeah, I know I'm in a bit of a conundrum. I'm probably going to need some help with this one because I don't know exactly where to put it, to be completely honest.
Have you played Virtua Fighter?
A little bit.
Okay.
I think the closest thing I've played to this is Shenmue.
Well, so that's my point. Yakuza up until 7 was Shenmue with Virtua Fighter combat. 7 is Shenmue with Dragon Quest combat, right? Like, and I think for better or for worse, top to bottom, I think that the previous Yakuza games all worked really well, and I think that like the combat system feels good in there. But honestly, I played 7 and then went back to 0 a little bit, and it felt weird being back in it. Like I was like, oh, all right. And because at first playing 7, I had the thing of like, this feels weird. I just want to be able to hit him, right? But like I couldn't. But then you get used to it, and I think they do it really well. And I think that it works for that series pretty well, especially the way they tie it in. Like you said, they integrate it into the story. They give you the job systems. They give you the class system through that. I think that is the part that really sets it apart. If they had just made, okay, here's Dragon Quest combat, pick from a menu and attack, I think that'd be one thing. But they couple that with the job system. They couple that with weird weapons you can get. Like all of that stuff kind of comes together, and they bring it together like with dungeon crawling and stuff too. Like you get to go underground and you get to do things that feel more like an RPG, but set in the Yakuza world. It's a very, I think, well thought out and well executed game. I think the way that they did everything worked super well.
Yeah, like I feel because it's not really titled 7 for us, they probably wanted you to go in like I think, Matt, I think you were the target audience for this. Like you don't. Yeah, like they might share the same world, but I'm pretty sure most of these games have self-contained stories that they don't really bleed too much into each other. So I think it's perfect to like not have played anything. This is like your first one. So you can like just judge it on its own merits.
Yeah, because this is fully like what this is a Gaiden kind of thing, like just total complementary side story thing that it ties into the main world. But yeah, I think
this is when it should have
and
15 slogan. It's like a fantasy based in reality or whatever, right?
Oh yeah.
I think it's more fitting for this one.
Yeah. And I think another thing I really liked about this was Ichiban's character over
all of Ichi.
You really you come to appreciate Kiryu, and you can kind of identify with Kiryu in a lot of ways, but you meet Ichi and he's just so likable and such a different energy than Kiryu, and it's like Kiryu makes sense as a member of the Yakuza. Ichi does not, and for obvious reasons once you get into the story a little bit, where he just kind of had to.
Yeah. I think even the supporting cast, it had a strong supporting cast. I can't remember the ex-cop's name, but he's just so down in the dumps. He's I'm out for revenge, but at the same time he's the realest of your party. He's I don't know about this one, but then he just goes in and something will piss him off, and he's all right, shoot, to heck with it, we're going in or whatever. So I think getting to the ranking part here, I don't want to go any higher than Resident Evil 7, but I don't want to go any lower than Red Dead Redemption 2. I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think this one fits without playing it all the way through, but just, trusting where you're at with it and knowing what I've played and what I've played of the other games in this thing. I would probably put this between Resident Evil and Tony Hawk.
I am in agreement with that.
I definitely wanted to put it above Splatoon 2 and Hitman, just from my personal experience. I enjoyed Yakuza Like a Dragon much more than Splatoon, for the things I played of Splatoon 2 and Hitman. I think Hitman, we get in this, we remember our series way too much and how much fun we had playing together, besides our how we played that game by ourselves a little bit, even though it is it's a very good game. But I think we put a little what's the saying, we look at it in a different light, or a starry eye kind of way. But yeah, no, I
rose tinted glasses.
That's the phrase. I would like it.
I should say.
I would like it right under Resident Evil 7.
All right, very good. Yeah. We'll lock it in, folks. So that's going to put it at number 6 on our list currently. Whoops.
We've officially had another jump in placements year to year.
Oh, the shift happened?
Yeah, I like doing these little fun facts. In 2020, not too long ago, we ranked Tony Hawk's Pro Skater as number 3 in our top 5, and Yakuza Like a Dragon as number 5, with the yet-to-be ranked 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim coming in at 4.
Man. Did you guys ever go back to that one?
No, not yet.
I'm going to get there at some point. I just don't know when.
It's a game. I would love if they would put that out on other platforms. I think that game deserves to be played by more people.
Yeah, that's my biggest obstacle right now.
Yeah. Because you can put games out on PlayStation and you can put games out on PC. Not sure if you knew that, but the developers of Kena Bridge of Spirits knew that this week. The game's out on PlayStation 5 and PC. Is that correct?
Yes.
It's not on PS4, right?
Ooh, that I'm not sure on.
All right, I'm binging it. Mark, you've played it. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so for PC, it's exclusive to Epic Game Store. I don't know for how long. But yeah, Ember Labs is the developer and publisher for this game. If I think this is their first game. Before that, they were animators, I think, for the most part. did a pretty good Majora's Mask animation. People should check out. And I feel that's a little necessary to bring up because I feel like I can see some inspiration from that being put into Kena. So I thought going into it because of that, I was like, oh, is this going to be kind of Zelda-like, you know? And surprisingly, it's not. Like the gameplay overall, like between the combat and the way you explore, it actually draws more inspiration from 2018's God of War. Like you're going through the woods to try to like figure like the story is that you're trying to help spirits pass on to the other side. That is who Kena. She's a spirit guide. She was raised by her father to do that. It kind of runs in their family. And by so of doing this, you are healing the world because there's like these weird thorns and like red glowing plants everywhere and like poisonous bulbs or whatever that's just like polluting the areas, and that's what the enemies are also spawning out of, and you fight them. So you're kind of cleansing the world when you fight them and everything. It's very interesting how she plays, where like because of the combat, right? It's like more God of War inspired. It's the shoulder buttons for her attacks, and I'm pretty sure God of War is like that, right? Like, isn't it R1 and R2?
Yeah, God of War very much reminded me of like a Dark Souls, Bloodborne light kind of combat.
Okay. Yeah, so there's that, and then like the world exploring is it's pretty good. It kind of gives me like a Metroidvania-ish feeling because you can kind of like you're limited to where you can go, but but through the progression of where you can go and explore, you'll start to notice like as you gain like upgrades and skills, you're able to now traverse those other areas and like reach other places you couldn't before, and then it just keeps going like that. So it does have a pretty good incentive to keep going and exploring every nook and cranny, especially if you're trying to like collect everything like as you're going. And there are some puzzle elements, which I guess this could be kind of Zelda-ish. The puzzles they don't take too much of a front here. I think like the exploring and combat are the furthest they kind of take the helm and bit of the story. But when the puzzles happen, they are nice. It's good pacing because they don't overwhelm their stay. It does help progress movement within the environment and world. And sometimes it's just to help like platforming. Like so that's the other side of it with this exploring. It's kind of like a 3D platformer mixed with these like modern combat over the shoulder stuff. And it gave me like this very good like PS2 era type of game, just because like how original and like a breath of fresh air it is to play something like this. It gave me like kind of Jak and Daxter vibes, but not like just not fully, but you can sense elements when it comes to the platforming and just the way the world looks. And I feel like they have similar visual styles. It's like there's like kind of it's like kind of tribal-ish looking, and then but also kind of civilized, and has its own art style that kind of stands out. It's a little more on a cartoony, like animated side, but like in a beautiful way.
Well, I think we've already established that PS2 games are the best of video games in history.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Anything that is close to that is...
Yeah, like whenever we say that here, it's a term of endearment. It's not like this looks but like a PS2 game or something.
No. It's because that was the last time original ideas happened. Not to say there aren't new ideas now, but the new ideas now, it feels like the same spirit of that, where people are making games for making game's sake rather than, okay, I need to... Everything should feel like a PS2 game, is what we are saying.
Yeah. And then, like, there's a slight Pikmin element.
How does that work?
It's very small. It's a very short thing. So
yeah, I know Pikmin are like incredibly tiny, but how does the mechanic work in the game?
Well, you find these little these little forest creatures. I think they're called rot. Just ROT.
Not McPin.
No, unfortunately. Probably to avoid any Nintendo.
Sorry, what did you say they were? Because I
way.
was too focused on making my stupid joke. I didn't hear what you even said.
The rot. They're like these little tiny like forest spirits. They're kind of
a way cooler name.
They're kind of like they're like pitch black with like a bit of like grassy green, like mullet hair kind of. And you find them all throughout the world. Yes, what the picture you're showing me. Yes. You know, they don't talk. They just make like little noises, like kind of like Mogwais or something. Just whatever. And they can help with combat and with some puzzles. So that's where like the Pikmin part kind of comes in, because there might be a giant block that you have to move in order to use it as a stool to like hop up onto another platform, right? So Kana, being who she is, doesn't have the strength to move that type of thing. She's standard human being, just with spiritual powers. So with the rot, you can ask them to lift up this heavy block, and all of them will come at it as a team, and then you can choose where to aim for them to put it and then drop it. And then that goes. And then in combat, once you fill up a meter, because at first they're very shy, like they're very timid. They get frightened very easily. So whenever combat starts, they're frightened, and as you're fighting, they start to gain more courage. And then that's the meter. And once that's full, you can use them to either amplify your attacks, or you can send them to an enemy, and they start swarming around them, kind of like a herd of bees or something. And the enemy gets like distracted and is like taking chip damage, and then that could be your way in to attack as well. So it kind of reminded me of Pikmin in that sense. And you can also give them little hats throughout the game, and that's also cool. But then like Kana has this one special one. It's like tinier than the rest. It's like this one's just very distinctive from the rest that you find. And you have a whole button dedicated to sitting down with the rot and just spending time with them. Like your little rot can do a little dance, or you can like give them like affection, kind of just do like a little like kiss on the head or something. You can just chill out with them, and I think it's down on a D-pad or something like that. And it doesn't do anything like game mechanic wise. Like it doesn't like replenish health. It doesn't, like nothing like that. Just a cool feature to have.
So, but again, to bring up the PlayStation 2 era, remember the contemporary of the PlayStation 2. In fact, what died because of the PlayStation 2, well, for a number of other reasons, but the Sega Dreamcast, but also the pinnacle of gaming, that era in time. And that mechanic sounds like, it sounds partially like the Chow Garden, but it also just sounds like, like Seaman, right? Like there's stuff that happened on the Dreamcast that just should be happening still. And
there's more to the rot than just that. Like for you finding them, that helps. That does help you like kind of get stronger, I guess. You start hitting bars of like how many you find, and that will level your rot. So I guess your rot gets stronger as you level them up, and the more you find. So, and as you're trailing throughout the world and like traversing here and there, you will see them just follow you and pop up everywhere you go. Like they just teleport everywhere. So like you'll be walking along a path, and there might be like a broken down like cabin or something off to the side, and on the other side of you there might be some like pots or like what have you, right? Like boxes or crates or whatever. You can just be running through that, and they'll just poof appear there, just sitting there, just kind of like enjoying the environment. And that happens the entire time you're traversing. They'll either be running behind you, or they'll be popping up in places, just kind of hanging out. If you're scaling a wall, they're going to be all over the wall, sitting and watching you. Like it's a cool thing to add to the environment and atmosphere of it. It's just a nice little detail touch. Doesn't do anything, but just for ambiance, I guess. And then the photo mode pushes that further if you really want to appreciate it all. Like, I feel like it's really a game of just like you get to enjoy the sights and everything while you're along the way. It's really about the journey, I guess, as much as it is for spirits. But with this, kind of want to play a little small game as I'm kind of going to these features a little more. Didn't have a clever name for it. I was gonna call it the choice goblin. We can still call it that, but it's basically do you prefer, which is just basically would you rather. So
No. I like choice goblin. I think that's the way to do it.
So yeah, so with the combat, you have so I'm using an Xbox controller for this, and with my hands and Xbox controller, I don't prefer shoulder buttons to rely on heavily. It's just awkward to position. It's like better for a DualShock or something, or a DualSense. Just the way that's formed. But right bumper or R1 would be you have like a combo of weak attacks, and the trigger is your strong attacks, and you can charge those up. So like, and Kana uses his staff. She has a staff, and at the very end of it, it's like this crystal, and that is like your main key throughout this whole game. And as you're going, you unlock new abilities for it. But before I get to the abilities, as far as combat goes, so this is choice 1. Do you prefer to use shoulder buttons, face buttons, or other, like maybe mouse or keyboard or VR stuff for combat? What's your preference?
I think I like shoulder buttons.
Yeah.
I think not just because of my Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Sekiro run, but also I think I'm kind of used to it. Now I've kind of switched my first-person shooters to mostly PC at this point, but before having that, I was very used to the ADS on L2 or L1 and shooting on R1 or R2. So yeah, I think I've kind of gotten used to. I still usually only position my index fingers for both, like R1 and R2 on each side. I've adjusted my grip for some games like Rocket League. But other than that, even though I like the shoulder buttons, I'm still a one finger on the top of the controller type of guy.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I guess I lean towards triggers and bumpers more so than the face buttons.
All right.
Yeah, I think my gut would have said buttons, because I feel lately I've been playing more button-based games. But when I pick this up and hold it, like, yeah, my natural resting position now. And I was always single finger up top, but I don't know when it clicked or something changed. I was playing something on Switch. I don't remember what it was. But that's when I like really got into the double finger up top. And it's just, you're already right there, right? You're like, with the face buttons, I feel like I have to move my thumb around, and that's fine. But having just my fingers already on both triggers, that makes it easier. So maybe I think my real answer, and this is not in the spirit of Choice Goblin, is I was gonna call it Goblin Choice. Is it depends on the game, right?
Yeah.
But with what you're describing, probably shoulder buttons.
Okay. Yeah, I'm totally face buttons. Like, my finger, like my positioning with games, like my fingers are barely on the triggers for the most part. Like, they'll probably be on the edge, or like it mostly rests on top of the triggers. But like the shoulder, like if it's triggers, I'm okay. But like something about having index fingers up here for me is just too foreign of a concept to like get used to. So like, because I have to realize, I don't know, like in Kana, I'm getting used to it. It works for the most part. But I just feel I'm quicker with my thumbs than I am my fingers.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a mouse. But...
And in the spirit of PS2 games, shout out to Jet Li Rise of Honor of having them the right analog stick constant combat button. You just pick the direction of which Jet Li is throwing punches and kicks.
I Who remembered that game ever?
I played
Jet
a lot
Li,
of it.
What?
That was a Blockbuster rental at one point, and I played a lot
Oh,
of that
I know.
game.
Yeah, I know you didn't buy that. Nobody bought that. But what was it called?
Jet Li, Rise to Honor, Rise of Honor.
I think Rise to
There it
Honor.
is.
Rise
sounds
to
right.
Honor.
Boy, oh
To be
boy.
fair, I didn't just name drop that. I had to make sure. I knew it was a Jet Li game. I just forgot the
Yeah.
caption.
And like,
Or the subtitle, I mean.
and like going back to the combat for Kana, like, even though I prefer face buttons, I think shoulder works for this game. I just wasn't expecting that going in. And like, even for God of War, I think, I like it in that too. Especially after playing both versions of God of War, like the original and then the new one. It makes sense for this game. I think it was well thought, and because the left side of the shoulder buttons, you always have this one where you put down your staff, or no, you don't put down your staff. You're putting your arms up, and then this bubble shield is around you, and it kind of plays two ways. It's a shield for attacks, but it's primarily a way of like sonar echolocation type thing, / trigger. Like whenever you press it and let go, the bubble emits a wave. Like it breaks open and like a wave shoots out. And sometimes you need to hit these crystals to activate, and then they will also emit a wave, and it's like a chain reaction. And sometimes you need that to open doors or open caves to dungeons or something. Whenever there's like poisonous stuff everywhere, you can set, and after fighting a wave of enemies, you're then allowed to send your rot to this like giant bulb of a flower that hasn't bloomed. It's like glowing red, and you have to send them to it, and they will be like swarming around it, flying, and then you hit that L1 button or left bumper to send that wave out. Mixed with the rot, it will get rid of that poison, and that's how you heal the land. So it plays multiple things throughout the game, and it's cool that it has so many uses for that. And then the left trigger, your staff turns into a bow, and then you can shoot energy arrows from it. So it's really cool. So like working with the shoulder buttons like that already, it already is getting you used to it all. So it's not like the shoulders are just meant for ranged attacks. It's for everything. So it is pretty cool. And with that, like with skills, it has a very simple UI. When you pause the game, it's like 3 things, and they're all laid out for you. It's like, I think it's like the map, and then you have your like quote skill tree, and then you have memories, which you're finding throughout the thing. As the story is going along, you find this mask, and it belonged to this person, and you're helping these 2 little spirit twins find their older brother, or find his spirit. And as you're doing this, you're going throughout the world, finding items that belong to this character, and that triggers memories of said character. And it's like the guy's name is Taro. You find this mask, it's like a wooden fox mask, and you could put that on, and then you start to see the world in like a purplish dark like filter, and you can see like bright footprints that might lead you like clues that might lead you to the next place, and it'll lead you to this artifact. So like the person could leave behind like a book or a knife, right? And then you use the mask to help find that, and then it'll lead you to this like glowing orange icon that you can only see with the mask that triggers a memory. And you can see the memory of that person, of how they left that book behind or how they left that knife behind. And it kind of is completing the story of what happened to this character, where are they, and how can you free them so they can move on to the afterlife or whatever. That's been like the big part of the story so far with this. Yes, and that part is very, damn it, that's very much Joni's mask.
It's like full on.
Yeah, so, but like, it does it in a way that, like, it's not like, it can come off as a little dark, but how it's handled, you don't feel too, like, depressed or sad about it. I mean, it's not like traumatizing in any way or creepy. It's handled in a very, like, peaceful, calming way, for lack of a better term. But yeah, that part is definitely like that's like the most Zelda inspired part probably. It's kind of through like narrative. But with the skills, as your rot are going around helping you out, you can find fruit or like fruit hanging from a tree or fruit growing out of bushes, and you use that bubble shield thing to like make them bloom if they're in a bush and they'll pop out onto the floor, or you can shoot them from a tree with your arrow and they'll fall down, or just through combat. Through these three things, the rot will eat those fruit, and the rot helping you with combat, you gain this currency. It's kind of like your experience points in a way, and you can use that to upgrade your staff, your bow, or whatever else items you get that I have not seen yet because I haven't unlocked them. But like, you know, you upgrade your skills with the staff. Like, instead of the staff getting stronger, it's more so, all right, you can parry now, or you can do a jump in the air and do a slam attack, or you can charge in and do an attack as you're rushing into an enemy. With the bow, you can do a thing now where if you charge it up and shoot an enemy, after it hits the enemy, it will spread into multiple arrows and hit the other enemies adjacent to that one that you targeted. Stuff like that. Or you can use the rot to infuse your arrow into a very, very strong shot that will like stun like a boss or something. So with Choice Goblin 2, do you prefer learning more skills with one weapon / item, or would you rather earn multiple weapons and items with their own set skills and functions? So kind of like what I just explained. You know, like upgrading the staff as you go on, you unlock new techniques with it, or like in Neo, the more you use a weapon, you find scrolls to unlock new combos you can pull off with that weapon. Or it's maybe something like Breath of the Wild where you pick up one weapon, it does its own set thing. Or like in Castlevania, you find that one weapon that does its, you know, it only works in that one way. Which way do you prefer your skills?
Side note, I want to buy a PS5 just to play the Neo Total Everything. Because that's like I guess they're all on PC now too, right?
I think if it's still on Epic Games, the first one is free to get.
I played the first one a bit on PlayStation. Yeah. I really want to do the second one because the second one's got character customization.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I know they did like an Ultimate Edition in February or something that was PS5 exclusive, I thought. Yeah. Anyway, I think, again, not in the spirit of what you're asking, but I think if they can make each weapon equally fun and interesting to mess around with, I would prefer to have multiple weapons to jump between. Okay. Otherwise, but I do find myself typically tending to play with a single thing. So, like in Neo, I picked what I wanted, and then I just kind of stuck with that throughout the duration of my time. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of my thing. Same with like what do you call it? Like Bloodborne. I pretty much got what I wanted and stuck with it. All of that stuff. Like you just kind of take a thing and go.
Yeah, I think I lean towards I'd rather just have the one weapon and let me have a tree to do whatever with, because like Joe said, with any game that has multiple weapons, in recent memory like Dark Souls, I go to like the same type of sword. But even like thinking back to like when I played like Symphony of the Night, like once I kind of found the weapon the type I kind of like to use, I kind of stuck with that a little bit for the most part. So like even past Dark Souls, I know I tend to lean, once I get comfortable with one thing, I kind of just stick with it. But yeah, no, you bring up God of War, but like the powers you could do with the Leviathan axe, like how it started kind of basic, and then you can grow that into something that is like so powerful. And I think in games like that, if they let you see the tree, I like to go ahead and see like based off the first 2 hours of gameplay, I then look at the tree and I'm like, all right, which of these like top tier end game powers is the path I want to get to? And I kind of like pick that and I make that like my main objective while covering some secondary objectives on the tree. And I think like once you get to like that ultimate power, yeah, it might take you the whole game or the 20 hours, 30 hours to get there. But like once you get that power and you make this weapon that started so basic badass, I'm all for that.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And this one kind of for Kana, it's the trees are very small. It's like there's maybe 4 or 5. I think it's 4. There are 4. I can't really call them trees because they're just straight lines for each thing. But they get unlocked as you go on. That when you actually become available to upgrade them. So I guess your rots have to be leveled up a certain point first in order to like spend the points to even like get those upgrades. So it's like your staff has one line, and within that there's like 4 upgrades it can get. And then like the bow has 4 upgrades it can get. Your shield has 4 upgrades it can get. And then whatever mystery item I haven't gotten yet will have 4 or something like that. And then like next to all that, there's like maybe 2 or 3 like big like passive upgrades or something. And the price will go up each time, like 100, 200, 300, something like that. And that's basically it. And for people who don't know, I think this is also a short game, so that's probably why a lot of this is also very condensed. Or pretty simple for the most part. And I think that's okay. Like that's not a knock against it. I think we need more games like this that aren't 30, 40 hours. And but yeah, I think you can beat this in like 12, 15 hours. I'm probably about close to 5 hours in or something like that.
That's a perfect length for a game though. And
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's like $40.
If anything, I actually encourage it.
Yeah.
So just quick updates on this side. Kana is also on PlayStation 4, so it's PS4, PS5, and PC via Epic Games. Neo 2 is also on Windows. I know it's on Steam. I can't confirm if it's anywhere else, but it's currently on sale for $39.99 for the complete edition.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad.
But yeah, and I'm also thinking about like Devil May Cry. I kind of like how they handle their skill system. You just use your gems to like do more combos for the most part, and then you just earn your weapons instead of like buying them or something or whatever. But yeah, I always prefer something like that,
too, right? Like, don't you buy combos? Like, you don't really do much to the upgrade.
Yeah, and I always prefer that. Just doing more with the one weapon. I think because that's what deterred me from Breath of the Wild at first. Like, they took away how complex you could be with Link's sword combat in favor of using more melee weapons that have their own set combo, and you can't do anything with it. Like a staff, you can only stab, and then charging up, it's just more stabbing. You can't do any like swipes or real things with it.
And I think, not to stress on Breath of the Wild too much, but I think that was one of its downfalls. Like, you couldn't just kind of pick a weapon and lean on it, because weapon durability would then force you to kind of just use what you had, because you probably didn't have, at least especially early, like you didn't have another good of that weapon.
Yeah, because I think they were really just pushing forward, like adapting to the situation more than anything. So, but yeah, always love having more skills with the one thing. Now, this game, you do have a stamina bar. So like you can only dodge for a certain point, and you can only take so many hits with the shield. I don't think sprinting has a stamina like Diablo or something. Like Diablo 2 has like a stamina bar whenever you're like sprinting everywhere. And then with your arrows, it's not using real arrows, it's all energy based. But you can only shoot maybe four in a row, and then you have to wait for it to refill in the corner. Like a little diamond will fill up, letting you know how many you have. I think
that's separate from your stamina bar.
Yes, that is its own. That's its own cooldown. And one little thing with the bow, I think is really cool. Might have been an oversight, but you unlock a skill for the bow where you can slow down time and like pick off your targets in a better manner. So because a lot of them do move around. But before upgrading it, if you jump in the air and go to aim, it does like Breath of the Wild slowdown while you're in the air. So if you don't want to buy that upgrade, you can just honestly keep jumping around. It's not as slow as the skill, and you do always have to be jumping to like trigger it. But that's just it's a neat workaround if you want to do that, and you can double jump from the start, so that helps with it. But and with this, the boss fights, I don't know. I just saw there was a patch recently, and I don't know if it's to fix this or not. But the difficulty spike is real. Whenever boss fights happen, it becomes like very Dark Souls or something like that. Like this big thing will come along. It has its own combo. You have to try to figure out the pattern. If you don't parry or block or dodge, you will get messed up pretty quickly. Like, it's brutal compared to everything else you've been fighting. Like, you'll fight little minions here and there. You know, that one, all right, it doesn't have a shield, so you can do quick attacks. Oh, this one has a shield? Charge up your heavy attack to break the shield and then start fighting them. But then the big bosses come. They're huge and they're quick. And I've died a lot fighting them. And so, like, trying to rely on dodging, it's a hard cycle to break because sometimes you just got to go in and strike too. So, Choice Goblin 3 with cooldowns. Do you prefer to wait for your stamina to refill or for your ranged weapon to reload? Because, like, both aren't too great, right?
Yeah,
like,
both suck.
You have to wait. But, like, and I usually find myself dying more because I have to reload in a game. Because reloading can take forever. And that's, like, when it's at its most intense time that I need my gun. So I think I would just prefer to have my stamina just refilled. Because I think, you know, you can still move around in the meantime. You can still have a little bit of a chance to maybe get away or have some... break that time in between. Maybe fighting can help break that time at least. You're not fully vulnerable.
I think I'm an idiot when I play games, and I'm typically more aggressive than I should be. Like, I should play more cautiously, so stamina is the correct answer, but I feel like I would want the reload faster, because I always feel like, if I could just get one more hit in, I can get them. So I feel like reloading faster would be better than trying to get stamina to get away. Although stamina to get away is that is the factual correct answer.
It's funny, because Call of Duty perks handle both of these. They give you Marathon as a popular perk for running a lot more than that little burst, and Sleight of Hand is the thing you use to reload quicker. I don't know. Recency bias says I would rather have the quick reload, because I've gotten good at stamina management.
Okay.
I don't know, that would have been the case 3 years ago. I think 2020 Dark Souls from Matt got used to stamina management. So yeah, I think I'll take that quick reload.
Well, I mean, the reload isn't quick. You're waiting for it to reload. So it's
Sorry,
like, would you
repeat
rather...
your question. Maybe I misheard. Sorry.
Do you prefer, when it comes to waiting, do you prefer to wait for stamina to refill, or would you rather wait for your gun or ranged weapon to reload?
Yeah, all right. I skewed the question as Joe was talking. Shit.
So both can be slow and awful, but
which one, like,
which one do you prefer?
Yeah, which one would you rather deal with?
Yeah, I'd rather deal with stamina because I can at least still attack while waiting for it to fill. As reloading, you just gotta take a hit probably.
I feel like with reloading, or it's weird because it depends on the game, right? Like, is this game very bow and arrow heavy, or is it melee heavy?
I think it's more... It's melee heavy at first, and then, like, once you unlock the bow, it kind of starts to incorporate it a little more, so you start to balance it depending on what enemies you're facing. Like, but, like, the diamond filling in the corner for the arrows to refill, it's not too bad in this one. It's really not that long. I think the stamina might take a little longer, but it's really not that annoying, in terms of Kana. But, like, if I'm playing, like, Borderlands or Halo or something, like, depending on the gun...
Light machine gun, you'll be there forever.
Yeah. Shotgun, each shell.
Yeah. Shit, I don't know. I think I hate to be a cop out, but I think it really depends on the game. I guess in a pinch, I'd rather wait for the reload.
Okay.
I feel like I could be at least somewhat evasive enough to get the cover in a scenario like that, where in cover I can patiently wait and then we're back at it.
All right. I like that answer. Because, I mean, that's also a valid tactic, just to...
I'm thinking like I'm like trying to think outside of Dark Souls, but I'm thinking like Call of Duty, right? Like, if you're stuck reloading Call of Duty, you can't do anything, right? But if you have some stamina and you can run, at least you can do an evasive maneuver while reloading or getting your crap together. Or like in
wait, Quake doesn't have reload, right?
No,
it's just
fire away.
Go.
A good video game.
Doesn't have stamina or reload. Look at that.
Exactly. I've got one. So Kena was made by Ember Labs, who previously an animation studio house. Which animation studio do you want to see make a video game?
I don't know, animation studio.
Ooh, who does the stop motion? Starts with an L. Is it?
You mean my answer? Leica?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It's like either that or crap. What is it?
No, I mean that's the correct answer. You win.
Who did who animated Akira?
Oh yeah. Are they still around? I feel like they're defunct.
Okay, well then I'll go with Studio Trigger.
That's pretty good too. I'm looking to see.
I don't know my animation studios or their names, but I think it'd be cool if that Blizzard animation, that whatever that internal system they got going on there, if you just let them make a game in that realistic ass animation for all their beautiful cutscenes they make. Because that's one thing Blizzard still does well. A good cinematic trailer or opening.
Yeah.
I mean, they should just make movies at this point. Or should have. Maybe not so much now.
Well, here's an interesting turn of events. The folks who are behind Akira, the production company, was called Tokyo Movie Shinsha Company Limited, known as Tokyo Movie or TMS Kyokuichi, was acquired and became a wholly owned subsidiary of Sega Sammy Holdings in 2010. So the people what made Akira are now part of Sega.
Interesting.
What are they doing now? Bakugan, Rent a Girlfriend, Megaloblocks 2, Lupin the Third Part 6. So,
Yeah. Studio Trigger's my answer.
Yeah.
And like they didn't make a game, but I think they were definitely hired to make the intro cinematic to the PS2 game. Brave. No, it's not Brave Fencer Musashi. It's Samurai Legend Musashi.
Mm-hmm.
Probably don't recommend that game. It's not the greatest, but the intro is very TM once you see it. But yeah.
Akina sounds good.
I'm
intrigued by it. Yeah, hit me with the two. Yeah. But I'm like...
Yeah.
One, you described it as a PS2 game, which is all you really need to do to sell me on something, but... No, this seems like something...
Even if you played it
I'd
for
be
like...
interested in.
Yeah, even like... I feel like by the first hour, I mean, you'll definitely know if you're in or not. They don't really...
Does it have a demo?
No, it does not.
Free cheese marketing 2.0.
But if you want to do the other strategy, which is whenever it comes to Steam, play for under 2 hours, and then if you don't like it, refund it.
And then by Neo 2.
That's the grimy demo, but I guess it works.
I mean, if it's for a game,
the Jim Ryan machine though, be careful.
Yeah, like I would only recommend doing that for games that are actually longer than 2 hours. If somebody worked hard and made a game that is short under 2 hours, don't refund it if you've beaten it.
Yeah, that's
like grimy.
Yeah.
All right, Goblin Choice 4.
So I kind of already talked about the leveling up for the most part. You know, like the rot kind of help you with that. The more you find them, that levels up. And then you find like currency through fighting or whatever to like upgrade your skills. And so you're not really leveling up as a character per se. It's just your weapon skills and whatnot that are doing the leveling up. And you do increase your health. But you don't do this with like leveling up traditionally like in an RPG or something. You find specific spots throughout the world to meditate, and she'll sit there and she'll actually meditate, and you can stay on that part for as long as you want, even after little like, and then you'll see your health bar like permanently increase a little bit. And so I thought that was a very creative way to do that. So like you really have to go looking for it. I don't know if there's a lot of them, but they kind of make it obvious when you can do it, at least for the first one. It's like the tutorial version or whatever. But it's very cool. So Choice Goblin 4. Do you prefer to level up your character manually by spending points, a la Dark Souls or Diablo or an MMO or something like that? Or would you rather like comb the world for specific upgrades? Maybe something like finding Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild, and then you take them to statues to increase your magic and hearts. Something like that. Or do you like it Pokemon style, where it's just like you level up and all your stats just automatically increase? You don't really choose, except like maybe learning a new move or something. But the points and everything, like strength, agility, and what that's just, it handles it for you.
Choice 1, final answer.
Yeah, specific points for...
And specifically, Final Fantasy X. That's my answer. I'm going to tell you why. Final Fantasy X, you level up on the beautiful sphere grid. You level up, and it's guided. At least your first time through. It's very guided. You follow the path. It doesn't seem like you're doing much customization. However, either later in the game, or you know what you're doing, you can break the sphere grid and do whatever the hell you want with the level keys, the level spheres that let you unlock and kind of transfer you over. So I forget where people are, but like you share a sphere grid with the entire party. You could take Titus, or now let's do something more specific. Yuna, who is white magic healer summoner. You can then break her out of her sphere grid using one of the level unlock spheres, probably like a level 4. And after some time, like I said, I forget the placement, so I don't know how possible it is, but you can get her to the chick with
Lulu.
the black,
right?
Lulu. Okay, you can get her to that part of the sphere grid where she can become a black mage as well. So I like. The answer I'm trying to get to is I like doing my own set things with a little bit of guidedness, or like I like a game easing me in to kind of doing it. Sometimes Dark Souls, I guess I got to understand it now, but like Dark Souls just threw you in. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, especially in Bloodborne with arcane and shit like that. But I like when there's a little bit of guidedness, but at any time is the option to kind of break free and do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, I think that's the key. Is like I want it to be complex so that I can do it my own way, but I hate when it's so esoteric that I don't, I just don't know what I'm doing. I will say, one thing I forgot about that I've recently reappreciated is the Final Fantasy 15 leveling system, where you go out, you collect all this experience, and you only level up when you camp, where you go to sleep. And that's fun because you could spend a lot or a little time out in the field and get, you can watch the circles fill a bunch of times, or that's a fun little reward thing.
Well,
that also has the bad AP system, where it's like sphere grid but Hot Topic style. You know what I mean?
there's too many grids.
You have to level up all of your Affliction t-shirts.
Like I said, small gripes with that game. More on that later. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, the thing with 15 that's cool though, and I think this is the unique part of their leveling system. The camping thing, yes, you can only do it at night, but depending on where you camp and how much you want to invest in camping or staying at a hotel, you get the nice multiplier on that AP. So if you spend a big day out and then you want to spend big and stay in a hotel that gives you like 2x that experience, levels come quick. Which I think that's the unique part of that mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think every time I have the option to spend points manually, I keep trying to balance it out. And now I'm just like, what am I doing then? They're like, I appreciate the customization for people if they want to go a certain way, and I think that's cool. We'll put all your points into just like one thing. I seldomly do that. But I think I'm just so used to like the automatic leveling up, like handle the stats for me Pokemon style, but then if I want to like increase a certain thing after the fact, then maybe hopefully there's an item to boost that or something, you know.
I also
with the X attack.
Whenever there's like an AP thing and it doesn't go like Dark Souls is a different beast because at any time you can lose all your souls or blood echoes, whatever one you're playing. But like with the AP system, I find myself not going into that menu until I just got this big bank of AP points, and sometimes I'd like forget to do it, and then when I like finally struggle maybe a little bit on a fight, I'm like, oh, maybe I should level up some shit, because when you
that's usually when it happens.
Level it in that game is not organic, like it's not Pokemon, right? Like you have to do everything. So like when you level, you're not really leveling until you actually spend the AP. So you can have a level 48 character in Final Fantasy 15, but if you haven't done anything, it's still like a level 28 or something.
Yeah, the skills are still very, very... All right, Goblin Choice 5.
All right, this one we can make it like a baby quick goblin. This one's a little more
rock
simple.
goblin.
Yeah. Do you prefer to spend... Okay, so buying the hats in this game, it's a little weird. Like, I like it, you know, like you find random carts. They're like carts with like the little, it's like a traveling shop. You'll find them throughout the world. There's not too many, but you'll find them. And every time you find them, you unlock new hats for your rot. There's chests throughout the world that if you open up, sometimes you find hats in that. And the biggest currency you find are like these, it's like a butt ton of gems. You can like open up baskets, have the rot shake a pot for you. You can use your shield bubble to like hit this lantern or like chime, and all these gems come out of that. And you collect a lot of these gems. It's like, what the hell are these gems for? It's only for buying hats for your rot. And I have like over 3,000 gems. Hats are only like 10 gems. Some are 100. Only like 2 or 1 of them are like 1,000. And it's like, what? Okay, this is a lot of... I just feel like it's just an overabundance of gems right now, and not enough hats are being found. I don't know. It seems wonky. For that to be the main currency to find for cosmetics is a little weird. I'd rather it be the actual experience points to put towards my skills to be like the forefront thing to find more than these gems. But yeah. Anyway, quick goblin.
That sounds like a bad side effect of the current need to share, and like, you know what I mean? That just seems like the show off thing. Like,
I mean,
we have to put this in because we want people to share screenshots and share their whatever and feel proud that they did something. But like,
right, like the photo mode.
What if we just actually made PS2 games again that were good?
Right, like you have the photo mode and you could spend time with the rots. And I guess they want to make it a little more personal in that way. But like, it shouldn't. It should be like a secondary thing for sure.
Well, what if like I know you haven't beat the game yet, right?
No, I haven't.
Like, what if those become, you know, like Resident Evil 8 gives you that currency after you beat the game for like different weird things you can do, unlimited ammo, all that stuff. Like, what if like that turns into that? That could be why you're getting so much of it.
Maybe. I hope so. I hope there's more to it. Seems like a lot of things in a game have more than one use, so hoping that does. But do you prefer to spend points on cosmetics, or would you rather earn them through gameplay or progression?
Option
No,
A.
earn.
Oh.
Like, I just want it. Like, I did a thing, give me the thing.
So like you beat a boss, boom, here's a thing.
Yeah, that's. Yeah. I don't like this point system you're describing. So anything that's not that. I also think like the fact that you're getting points from doing any random thing and then you're putting them into buying a thing is. I mean, it's no different than like an RPG game where you're. RPG game's redundant, but it's no different than that where you're like getting gold, whatever, and spending it at a shop for a specific thing. But I'd much rather like the. I guess this can be like gross too in like a Destiny sense or something where it's like you need to grind this specific quest to get this specific gear or whatever. But I do like the idea of like. Maybe not in that. Like when I think of like unlocking a thing by doing a thing, I'm thinking of like a secret character or that type of thing where like, you know what I mean? Like I did something and that's why I got that. I guess that can be gross. That can be very gross. Maybe I don't like my answer.
Both sides have their things.
Yeah, just don't make bad video games, man. Why do so many people make bad choices?
I think I'd rather spend the points.
Yeah, I'm points, but you can go ahead.
Because, like, if I'm doing something in the game that was, like, painstakingly awful to get, like, an achievement or something, and then because of that, I also get rewarded, like, a shitty Nintendo Switch shirt or something, I would feel that was just too much work for the outcome. I'd rather just, all right, along the way, I just found points, fuck it, here, boom, snap, done. But sometimes, I mean, it could be a good thing to get something really good, but for the most part, to deal with the worst, I'd rather it be that way.
I'm looking at the other side of it, kind of like what him hinting at the Destiny gross thing. I wasn't thinking about Destiny because usually armor has to do with stats and stuff like that, but I'm thinking like purely cosmetic, like a hat or a costume, like thinking Bayonetta as like Peach or Samus or whatever, like that kind of thing. I'd rather do the points so that way I can just like get the thing I want as soon as I can get it with the points. And it might be, you know, that the thing I want might be like 30,000 and the rest of them are 5,000. Like, that's fine. I'd rather get the thing I want first than the other junk I don't want, like a Nintendo Switch shirt for Link on my Wii U edition of Breath of the Wild.
Now, was the Switch shirt a pre-order thing?
Was
it just because
it was a pre-order thing.
Okay.
I don't. Well, I think it was also if you bought the Champions pack or whatever their dumb DLC bundle was.
Oh, because I was going to say, like, would you like? Do you like it when it's like pre-order exclusive stuff? Like, or do we rather just be like?
Well, Matt said he likes the Bayonetta stuff, which was amiibo costumes in the Wii U version of the game. So, I mean, I like a good amiibo costume. I like when amiibo are useful. But no, generally, I think the pre-order stuff sucks.
Just wait till the Game of the Year edition when they actually release it. It's like, hey, remember when this wasn't exclusive?
The pre-order stuff sucks because it was like so. Some of it was kind of cool.
Even if the cosmetic's good, I'm not gonna pre-order a game for a cosmetic unless like the only time
I was already getting that game and I just got it anyway.
That. I don't pre-order a game. Like, I guess I pre-order it, but like I don't pre-order a game because I have to. Like, I pre-order it because I actually have a night off or something and I can play it at midnight, or I'm super excited to get my hands on it, so I'll load it so that way it's ready for me and I don't have to worry about it later. But I don't even do that much. Like, I'm a grown-ass adult. I got things to do. I work. Like, I don't do the midnight thing anymore.
In line somewhere. I think that's also of an era. Like, the thing I remember the most with pre-order bonuses was Arkham City, where it was like you could only get this Tim Drake stuff if you got it at Best Buy. Otherwise, you'd get it a month after launch. And if you ordered through GameStop, you got a different costume for Harley. Like, all that stuff sucked. Yeah. And yeah, I hate all that.
Probably not the note I'd want to end Kano on, because I make it sound way worse than what it is.
No. But...
I mean, that part really isn't in your face in the game. It's like it's very.
It doesn't seem like it.
No, it's just very here and there, and you don't have to do it. Completely optional. But yeah, the rest of this game, I think, definitely outdoes itself. I think it's a breath of fresh air for sure. I am enjoying my time with it. It's nice to have something like this come along once in a while. I think it's like cozy and convenient in what it does.
Yeah, and for like a first effort from a studio, stepping into games for the first time. And I think when they showed the game initially last year, they showed some interviews with the folks behind the studio, and I think that like they were humble about things. I don't know, it's nice to see a good success story.
Like it feels like a passion project.
Game. Yeah, for sure. We're going to step into a passion project for a few minutes. For you, it'll only be 30 seconds, and we'll be right back with the rest of the show. Magic the Gathering is a place for friends, and we are all friends, and we are all playing Magic now. I don't know whether to congratulate or apologize to you guys, but everybody's in, and it's so much better when everybody's in,
It took how long for me?
So, Mark, you've never played this, have you?
No, this is my first time.
How are you liking the experience as a first-time Magic player?
I'm definitely intrigued by it. I'm still not sure what I'm doing. But I'm here for the art for the most part. The concept seemed complicated than what it really is. It always felt overwhelming to me, just from afar, just because I just didn't understand any of the terminology or whatnot. I'm still trying to learn the terminology. But now, like, I kind of get it for the most part. Now it's like, I think like the basics I understand. It's now trying to understand like different card types, like instances and whatever the other ones are called, and
yeah.
And just trying to get a grasp on all that still. So it's like I'm still like amateur baby level for sure. I've only been playing for like 2 or 3 days, but I feel like I've learned so much within that time though. So yeah.
Do you think that's mostly the tutorials? Do you think it's? I felt like that this recent round of tutorials did a good job, but I also think that like playing in Arena where you can hover over things and like very easily tell what's going on really, really taught me a lot.
I don't know. I think it's a weird balance of like good and bad when it comes to it, but I respect it nonetheless. I can't say it's easy to teach anyone anything, right? Like that's everybody has their own ways of teaching. Everyone has their own ways of learning, and there's never going to be one perfect way. Usually I complain about games holding your hand too much, and I just get like, I feel like I'm not learning anything when you do that. Like a lot of mobile games love to do that. Just, hey, tap and highlight a thing, and let's just go through it. But Magic, for that tutorial, even though I am clicking on just what's highlighted, because they're just trying to teach me how to use a certain card, by proxy, I am still kind of understanding how these cards work through the animations. Even though I'm not fully reading them, I still kind of get what they do, like on like a subconscious level. So as long as I'm not thinking hard about it, I think my instinct knows how to play better than actually thinking about it. Which is weird for now, but I think that will change as I go on. Because I do want to learn more. I'm not deterred by this. I don't feel overwhelmed, surprisingly. Obviously people can play it, so I shouldn't be that, I shouldn't feel overwhelmed by it, is what I'm trying to get at. But that tutorial, like, I feel like it should need to do some explaining a little more or a little better, because like trying to figure out, like, it doesn't really explain the phases of the game. It just kind of just like, it just wants you to learn how to play certain cards. And maybe it does, and I just missed it. I probably just missed it.
But there's a lot of it up front. Like, there's a lot to learn.
So, like, I had that notorious obstacle moment with the color challenges.
Yeah.
Doing white versus blue. And, like, a lot of people had this problem because, it's scripted, so that doesn't help, but I get it. And you're just trying to figure out, all right, what is the right way to beat this? And it turns out the issue was that, like, I didn't know when to play I didn't know when to activate an ability on a card.
Because it's not even just, like, doing it during a certain turn, but it's also doing it at a very specific point in the turn.
Yeah. And, like, highlighting the card or magnifying it to, like, read a further detail, that doesn't even really explain it all that well. Like, I think it just expects you to have some knowledge beforehand before getting into this. Like, they probably expect you to play Magic a little bit, maybe, or maybe dipped your toes at least before getting into this version. At least that's what it felt like to me.
Well, I think, though, like, your experience going through that, I made an error this morning when I was playing. Because that's the thing, too, man. It's like Monday, Magic in the morning, Magic in the evening, Magic at supper time. And I jumped in this morning just having coffee and did a round with a new deck I built. And I had a moment where I was like, I should play these cards in this exact order. It's not going to get me... I won't win the game, but I will survive another turn if I do it this way. And if I get the right draw next turn, things could be... And I was thinking of that, where, like, yes, order is important. And I was like, but it's probably not even worth it. So, and, like, in hindsight, I should have done it. And it should, like, because turn, how you play a thing and when you play a thing totally matter. But I didn't do it, and I ended up...
Yeah, like, in the end, I think I just need more experience. So, like, even whether it's winning or losing, it's still learning. So I just got to give it more time, but I am liking it. I am enjoying my time with it. I'm liking this spooky theme stuff. That was probably the biggest draw for me. That made me take the dive. Will I stick around after it? I don't know yet, but currently I do prefer it in this as a virtual thing. If I were to play this with physical cards, I probably would not know what to do still. I think because I'm too reliant on...
Oh, I'm right there with you, bud.
Yeah, no, with the game being automatic with the way it does things. But yeah, I am enjoying it. I'm glad I jumped in and tried it out and have a more open mind about it.
Yeah, I wish there were a way we could do, like, a traditional draft digitally, but I don't think there is.
Mm-hmm.
But booster packs, and they have now set boosters and draft boosters separately. And draft booster, both of them were readily available at Target. So that might be something we do in the future.
See, and, like, that's the other thing. Like, we don't have to worry about that whole scalping bullshit, I feel, with Magic, right? Or am I wrong? Like, is it just as bad as Pokemon?
Really, like, so Pokemon was completely sold out next to the brand new Magic set at Target. When Pokemon was at that really bad peak where, like, Target said, hi, we're not selling these in stores anymore, Magic was also blown out, but all cards were blown out. Now I feel like I'm seeing more Magic cards, but I was also, for a little bit, I was seeing Pokemon cards in store. Now I'm not seeing them at all, where Magic I am.
Drafting would be interesting because I am nowhere feel like I'm near ready. Like, I'm not ready to build a deck. I don't know what pertains to build a good one. I don't know what exactly goes into that. I don't know the limitations. Like, I haven't even touched that field. But I think drafting might be a more casual, easier way to maybe ease into that. Maybe.
Yeah, I think. But I also, like, I think if you do it in the game, I would not recommend doing it in the game because you are stuck with what you're stuck with. And if I tried it early on because I was like, well, this seems like fun. And, like, no, because I didn't know what I was doing. And I was just grabbing cards that looked cool or were certain colors. And you really can't think that way. You have to, like, try and keyword match, or, like, there's a whole other science to it that I still don't feel comfortable doing now. And, I
said, I know, like, in Hearthstone drafting, you were looking for value. Like, how much, like, your mana, like, you need 2 mana to do X, Y, and Z. Like, if you can maximize what 2 mana does, like a damage or like attack defense kind of thing, I found like that was more successful in drafting type things. But I was never even good at it in Hearthstone. But yeah, I always felt like value in cards and like draft type decks is important.
Yeah, because it's like, are you trying to like build a deck to do one certain technique, or are you trying to build a deck to where you can kind of be versatile, and depending on what you draw, you're always ready for any situation?
Yeah, because you're not guaranteed the synergy on a draft, right?
That's
like,
the word.
You get the first card, and you're like, oh, cool, all right, I got 15 picks left. Hopefully 3 of them do it, and none of them come, and then that card is now useless in your deck because it doesn't play off anything.
Yeah. Matt, how about you? You've jumped in.
Yeah, I started. I've already dabbled with Magic before. This one's I think unique for me because any other card game that I've invested at least a little bit of time in, like serious time, I've been there at the ground floor, kind of learning with everyone, learning the new cards with everyone. There's not a big selection of cards. I never had to deal with like cards being phased out of the rank play this season or this expansion or whatever. That's with Hearthstone and Artifact, of course. But after Artifact ripped my heart apart, I kind of had that lull of a card game because I do like having one of those to come back to every once in a while. And Hearthstone has far escaped me. But yeah, no, like I said, I dabbled in Magic before. I think the toughest thing is coming in as a new player and trying to quickly learn cards, but like not like one, learn the cards, but two, like anticipating the cards. Like I think is another thing to like learn the cards, but I think it's another skill to learn the decks and how to use the cards and when they play the cards and how to play around those cards and things like that. I think that's the part I'm struggling with because there's just so many and it's all brand new to me or whatever. But no, I'm doing something I usually don't do. Usually in other card games, I like, go to the Google thing and put in the words Hearthstone decks or Artifact decks and kind of go from there. But in this game, or, this time around, I'm doing the deck building for myself, which is something I usually don't do. And I've had a lot of fun with it. I think I'm having some success too. I think I've built a pretty decent, like at least low tier white deck that got me the gold yesterday. So I'm doing something right. I have a little black deck that I think is a card or two away from being really good, but, it does win games. I'm not losing all the time with it. And I think that's the other part of the deck building thing. Like, you just can't look at the results of 2 games and you're like, oh, this deck sucks. Like, you have to play 10, 15 games and see which cards you aren't using, like in any situation, and then getting rid of those and seeing where you can build another synergy or whatever. And I'm at the point now, too, where I'm kind of getting packs. It feels like a lot. I'm not getting a lot of packs, but every time I open it, I feel like I get a pack or a card or something. So now, like when I get to that point of like, all right, these 4 cards, I'm never playing them. There's never a good situation for them, or the situation is so niche that it doesn't make sense to waste 4 cards in a 60-card deck. So, like when I go back to get rid of them, by this point, I might have more cards or at least more wild cards to build new cards or whatever. So, I've been having a lot more fun with the deck building. That's the point I'm getting at. I'm having a lot more fun with the deck building part of it, more so than I've ever have in other card games. Yeah, I just like the different synergies you can do with like around death and counters and dungeon crawling. I haven't gotten into that too much, but the dungeon mechanic, it blows my mind. I love it a lot.
Yeah, that integration from the D&D stuff is really weird but cool. I've all the decks I've built have been just from the latest set. So there's no dungeon mechanic in there, but there is the day-night mechanic with the werewolves and stuff. The funny thing is I only have one deck that really capitalizes on that. The rest of them that I think have been really successful don't have any werewolves in them. But I've been going up against people who are doing the dungeon crawling thing, and like having to counter that is an interesting mechanic too. And I think that's the thing I'm finding, like now that I'm letting it click or something is clicking differently, I think the interesting thing is the fact that like I've got 2 different decks that are the same color makeup, but they play completely different from one another, and I feel like confident in different scenarios with each one. That's the weird thing, like to have that finally click, because before when deck building, it would be like, okay, I'm going to pick everything that looks cool. That didn't work. But like it's the inherent thing, because the cards are cool looking. There's a lot of cool art and cool design and cool things about certain aspects of them. Yeah. And then I went from there, I graduated to, okay, well, let me look up successful decks. Let me find who's who's got what and what they're doing. And Arena has a really cool thing where you go on certain websites and you can copy a deck. And as long as it's copied to your clipboard, you can paste it and it'll build that deck for you. And then if you already have the cards, it obviously puts it in the deck. If not, you can make the cards you don't have with your wild cards. And I had done that to a point, but I didn't want to burn all my wild cards on stuff like that. So I would then like start pulling out things I didn't have to put in other things that looked cool, and it just didn't work well. But what is happening now, it's like Matt said, like finding the cards that work together and like slowly refining that deck over time. I'm an idiot and I keep you've taught me, Matt, not to do this. So the most recent deck I made, I've been doing the standard play rather than standard ranked. But I was building a deck and like, looks good, let's go to ranked. And I'd win some, I'd lose some and whatever, and I'd refine along the way. But now that I'm a little bit higher ranked, I don't want to, you can't drop a full, like a color, right? So now that I'm in gold, you can't drop down to silver. But, you know, every time I lose, I'm dropping back to 0 on my tier. So that I'm trying to be more conscious of and make sure that I'm building decks, trying them out in play first before taking them to ranked. But yeah, it's just, I think, I don't know. I'm trying not to get ahead. I'm trying to just enjoy it for right now. Cause I think that's my thing. Is like, I always like think like, okay, well, when am I going to get bored of this? And like, that's not the right way to think of the thing. Like,
well, I'm doing the opposite. I'm like, I kind of gave myself a week. I was like, if I'm still in this through the weekend, I'm buying the battle pass.
Yeah.
And this goes up Monday. I will probably have the battle pass.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'll get, oh my gosh, you're going to get a ton of little things along the way. If you've already gotten to where you are level wise with that, I'm sure you have a bunch of unlocks waiting for you. Yeah, it's fun. The one thing I did buy a physical booster pack just because I was in Target and I wanted to see what the cards look like. They really, man, they do not give you anything in game. You have to buy specific like pre-built decks in order to unlock something in Arena. And that's kind of a bummer. It like, I'm not incentivized to buy the booster. Even if the booster was like $1 more physically, I wouldn't mind it. If that got me something in Arena, I'd probably buy more cards that way, physical cards that way. But as it stands, like I will wait until we have a pizza night and just hang out and do a draft.
Yeah, like if that was
more fun.
If that was a thing, I'd be like so down to do a draft and then, you know, like us in person draft, and then, you know, we won't get to keep the cards because of the way the draft works. We have to upload the boosters, I'm assuming, like the actual packs themselves. But, you know, we just divvy up 3 packs or whatever, and
yeah,
like
I was looking at the rules earlier. I think if we're gonna do it, you get 3 boosters per person. So in that case, if they did a card like the way that Pokemon does, where there's a QR code in each booster, you each would end up with 3 random boosters in the game, which is still kind of a win-win. But yeah, it's I don't know. I'm loving it though. I like the set a lot. It's been fun to be back in that world. And this is, you know, we've got a couple months ahead because this set runs through November. And then the vampire set comes right after that, and then that'll be a couple months before. So
the way it's named makes it very much seem like the style of like werewolves, vampires, and stuff. Like they're gonna do like another thing. Is that the vampires coming, or is that
the vampire one? Is Innistrad Crimson something.
Yeah, that's the thing. But the Innistrad, it seems like that's gonna kind of keep going, or at least. You know, we know about the vampire one, but maybe there's like, you know, Innistrad : Lunar New Year, and it's fucking werewolves.
It had been one, like there was the old Innistrad set, and this is the first time they're coming back to it in a couple years. The next one is Crimson Vow, is in November. And then, 2022, there's, I forget what they called the set now. But yeah, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty is the first quarter. This looks very much like, what if the feudal era of Japan was all neon?
All right.
So that'll be the January set. And then there's, what? I didn't even see this stuff. Yeah, there's stuff coming in the second quarter that's more. I don't know what the
Magic is very alive and well, it seems.
Mm-hmm. A lot of this looks like Halo.
What?
And then there's stuff that goes to space, and that's where I think I get lost. But they're going to do another D&D thing next year, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Our last bit for the week, Castlevania. Topic we seldom talk on the show. But Castlevania turns 35 this week. The Castlevania Advance Collection just came out last week. Grimoire of Souls is still not fun to play. But, you know, there's more to Castlevania than Grimoire of Souls. And I realized this week as we look forward to 35 years, and we look at that Castlevania Advance Collection, because I, without a hesitation, bought that as soon as it hit the eShop and jumped right in. And that, for anyone who missed it, the Advance Collection is the 3 Game Boy Advance games plus Dracula X for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And I got it and then realized I've already played all. So I've not played Super Nintendo Dracula X in a while, and I never beat it when I did. Circle of the Moon, I've played a bit, so that's the one I'm actually excited to dive into in this. But Harmony of Dissonance I've played through, and Aria of Sorrow, I just played earlier this year. Because I played that and jumped right into the DS one after. And I think having something like a Mister and still having Harmony and Aria I played on original hardware because I have the double cart thing that Konami put out for those, and I have the backlit GBA, so it's it's fun to just jump into those as it is. But also with the Mister, I feel like I'm already playing those games in a way that I want to play them, so then buying this collection felt weird. And same thing, I have that Castlevania collection on Switch and on Xbox also, but going into them there, I'm but it feels more fun to play it like I have it. And that's me, and I feel like this coming out, I'm excited because I think it's going to introduce these games to a brand new generation of people. There's a lot of people who have watched that Netflix series who have never played a Castlevania game. So I think that a lot of them are going to jump into this to see what's up. And I think that Dracula X's inclusion in this was no mistake, right? It seems like a weird outlier for them to put in, given that the rest are Game Boy Advance games. That was a Super Nintendo game, but there's similar architecture between GBA and SNES in a way, not wholly, but there was a lot of crossover between those two libraries. And I think that the upcoming Netflix show with Richter, this was a no-brainer to kind of add that in there. So yeah, and that way I'm excited that new people will get to play these games, but I realized that I'm running out of Castlevania games to play. I still need to beat Bloodlines, and technically, when I do beat Bloodlines, I've only beaten it with one character, because I haven't played through as Eric Lacard. I've only played through as John Morris. But, playing through that, I played Rondo earlier this year. I want to play through the Super Nintendo version, but outside of the 3D ones I haven't touched, I'm pretty much through all of those games at this point, and there's not going to be new ones. And when there are new ones, they're not good. So, how do you keep multiple playthroughs of your favorite games or favorite franchises interesting? Is there, for me, I know we talked about Symphony of the Night last week, where playing through with different buffs to playing with the luck code can sometimes change how that game plays. Finding different weapons. With Rondo, there's stuff now that I've played through that the first time I can play through a second time and see what the alternate paths are in each of those levels. I can play through as Maria and see how that changes, the whatever. So sometimes having a different character is interesting, but is there a game or a franchise that you've played through repeatedly or, with new approach, new eyes?
Let's just say, kind of. I don't think I do it too often. I think it's just more so, I have to wait to be in the mood for it, and then I'll play it either like I normally do, or I'll maybe decide to kind of switch it up. But I think, Hotline Miami, I think is a good example. That one I think really encourages to keep it interesting too, because each mask adds something to it, changes it up a little bit, kind of dictates how you want to play that game. And so like you could just do an all Tony run if you wanted, where you just put on the tiger mask and all your punches are kills, and don't like try not to pick up guns or anything. So it's like, all right, so then how do you get the enemies from afar then? Well, you might have to lure them, got to bait them. You got to peek out a little bit into the line of sight, make them come towards you, wait around a corner, pop. Or
I was thinking all Tony Danza for a second, and that threw me off.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing you're playing, but everyone looks like Tony Danza.
That'd be another interesting way, I guess. Or like you can play as Dennis. He's like, it's a wolf mask, and you start with a knife. So just go in slashing if you want, or you can chuck the knife and kill somebody. Or you want to make it really interesting. I forget the name, but it's a bat. It's a vampire bat mask, and it puts all your controls backwards. I cheated that system by using Joy to Key and just reversed everything so I could still play normal, which is not the purpose of doing it, but there's an achievement to like use every mask or something. So I didn't feel like dealing with the bullshit at that point. But I think I might go back and actually legit try to play with that mask and see what happens.
Is there a benefit to that mask, or is it
just pure challenge? Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, because some start with different weapons, some have better abilities than others. Like that's what I love about that game too, because it's so fast paced that and there's so much like RNG involved with the AI and what weapons lie around. That one definitely encourages to keep it interesting all the time.
I think a good trophy list definitely helps with multiple playthrough of something. Like I think most recently for me, like the Demon Souls run, right? Like I don't think I would have went back to that, at least not right away. But the fact that like that trophy list was different than the other FromSoft trophy list, and the fact that like you had to kill bosses in certain ways, it made me play the game in a completely different way, which I ended up like really liking a lot. And like it might, whenever I go back to like a Dark Souls 1 or 2, I might end up using some of those things I learned from Demon Souls in the next run. I really don't go back to a lot of franchises that are stagnant. I think that's my problem. The things I go back to are like Rocket League, which is always a competitive thing. You play for new ranks or whatever. It's the same, but it's not, right? Dota, I haven't gone back to in a while, but TI is around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. I just feel like the things I go back to are like that are like competitive in a way that it's ever moving, but it's the same at the same time. So like I don't know. I guess it keeps itself fresh in a way because it's a new opponent. There's new strategies that have come up. Whatever. Yeah,
because I think the same. Like you play like baseball every year, and like now we just got done talking about Magic, but I think something like that too, where like it's the same gameplay mechanic, but the circumstances are different every time because you don't know who your opponent is, you don't know what you're going in with this time, and yeah.
Yeah, and I think I come back to something when it's been like a long time, and not that I forgot the game or forgot strategies or whatever, or even like hard or easy parts, but like, I just want to play through it in the way I play through it. And like Metal Gear's on my mind a lot recently because I got that vinyl. I've been listening to it during the day, sometimes with work and stuff. But like, man, like I'm itching to go back to Metal Gear. But like I haven't played Metal Gear since like my junior year of college, which is now like 7 years. It's been an amount of time between playthroughs. And who knows, that might get me to go through the franchise again. But I haven't touched the franchise since 5, and even 5 came out in like what, 2015?
Yeah, 6 years ago.
Yeah, so yeah, like yes, I might revisit that, but like I feel like my revisits are so apart that it's not exactly as fresh again, but I get to relive some of that stuff in a way that feels fresh in the new modern era. And there, I have a different lens on the game because I've played other stuff that may have been inspired from this, have advanced upon it, and you kind of get to see the history of where things have gone for better or for worse.
Yeah, or stuff that had inspired it that you didn't realize before.
Right,
There's certain like movies and stuff I'll watch now where I watch them after seeing something that it inspired. It's like, oh, they just pulled directly from that, you know?
Yeah.
I think a lot of kids probably saw that when they finally played Earthbound, after having been in love with Undertale, and they're like, wait, he just ripped all that, you know, in a good way, in an homage way. I'm not trying to disparage it, but have you guys ever done like the Nuzlocke thing? I know that was a big thing of Free Cheese alumni Kyle, but to play through are you not familiar with this, Matt? Oh my god. All right, we're gonna make Matt play a Pokemon game.
Fuck.
So the Nuzlocke challenge in Pokemon, and I might be missing some things, so Mark, correct me if I screw anything up. You can also Bing it and find it pretty easily, but
yeah,
you basically you have to kind of treat every Pokemon you meet as like the canonical only one in existence. So you get your starter Pokemon, you start on your adventure. If you wander into the brush and you find a Pidgey, you can catch that Pidgey if you want to, and if you do, whatever happens with that encounter, that is the only Pidgey in the game. So if you find another Pidgey, you just have to destroy it for XP, but you can't catch the second Pidgey. Your only opportunity to catch it is if you catch that first one. And if you do, and that Pidgey if you let any of your Pokemon faint, they're dead, right? You can't revive them. You can heal them all you want, but you can't revive. And
heal in battle, yeah.
Yeah, heal. Oh, it's only in battle. You can't heal outside of battle?
No, because
only at Pokemon centers, right?
Well, I'm not sure, because I thought it was if they faint, you have to release them.
Yeah, I know that, but if they get down to like close to 0 health, I think you can use a Pokemon Center to heal them back up. But yeah, you can't heal outside of battle otherwise. The rules are much more strict and more defined than I'm remembering. But yeah, basically the thing I remember is like,
yeah, I don't know the specifics.
If you catch a Pikachu, you can't catch a second Pikachu. If you are fighting a Pikachu and you knock it out before you catch it, and you find a second Pikachu, you can't catch it. You just have to ignore it forever. You're never going to get that. But that adds a little bit of challenge to the game, especially early on. But I think there's also a pretty good sense of achievement when you can get to the final four, or beat that with a ragtag team that you just kind of stumbled upon.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like kind of role playing with some games that keep it interesting too.
Yeah.
Like Diablo made a barbarian named him Magnus, and he doesn't. In Diablo 3, you can like pick up books for like experience, but I don't pick them up. Magnus does not read. Hates books, hates words. So,
right. Yeah, adding your own like character and flavor to things. That's
yeah.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot I have a Save Cyberpunk game, which is the alter ego of Mark, which is Polish Mark, and he runs around as Raiden with a sword.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have another one?
No, I was actually going to say I think I started a run not like that, but in Fire Red. Fun fact: last semester of college, I needed just credits, so me and two of my roommates sat in the back of a business class, and I brought my computer for notes. Meanwhile, I launched a Fire Red emulator and was playing through Fire Red. And I think I was, if I remember my run correctly, I think I was doing the first 6 Pokemon you catch are the only ones.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think I was doing that, or I was doing something like that. But yeah, no, I was doing that challenge because I played Blue, Red. I played through them at least the beginning 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But the little challenge, the little challenges, like that's what I do a lot with my YouTube viewing right now. It's watching people play Dark Souls or Bloodborne in ridiculous ways that I don't have the patience for myself, but I'll enjoy someone else going through the all the trouble and issues of all that. And I think that presents a lot of fun things. And then the power of the PC to mod as well. I think that certainly helps with replayability of games like your Skyrims and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Last thing on Castlevania I will bring up right now. Last year I played Lords of Shadow 2 for the first time, which I had previously wanted nothing to do with, but it ended up being a game I like in the series very much. I won't say one of my favorites, but I like that game a lot. I had a lot of fun with it. And the interesting thing there is that you finally get to play as Dracula after all these years. And of course, excluding Kid Dracula, but you finally get to play as Dracula in one of the games. Is there a game or a franchise that you wish you could have played as the antagonist, or that you did play as the antagonist and it was cool, or something that it's kind of subverted the thing? Because I think that was an interesting thing, but that was the entire plot of that game. I think it would be interesting if you could, you beat Symphony of the Night and you unlock the ability to play through as Dracula or something. That would be. But has there been a game that's actually done that, or one that you'd have wanted it to?
I think this is very more recent, but The Last of Us Part 2.
Well, yeah, that kind of
that
was the whole crux of that one.
Yeah, which
makes you
I think it makes you rethink villains and motives and things like that. But I think most recent memory of playing as a potential antagonist is that game.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Let me tell you about a little gem called Sonic Adventure 2.
Oh man.
What, Big the Cat's a bad guy now?
You have your hero side and you have your dark side. So
Dude.
You got your Sonic, got your Knuckles, got your Tails, and then you got your dark side, got your Shadow, got your Eggman, got your Rouge.
Dude, I did not realize how bad The Last of Us Part 2 was now, until right now. I was giving it all this credit. Yeah, I was giving it all this credit, and here they just ripped off Sonic Adventure 2.
Oh my God.
And Sonic Adventure 2 at least had the balls to put it up front, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can even start with them.
Exactly. You picked a side right from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Not this subversive narrative cover-up.
Okay. If we're going to talk about subversive narrative cover-ups, all right, let's talk about Metal Gear Solid 2.
Oh, yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. No, I completely forgot about Sonic Adventure 2 doing that. That's pretty good.
Shout out to Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they did that really well.
They went beyond it. It wasn't just like swapping a character and playing the same exact game. It was like they had their own mechanics that were different. Each one played different, had their own story and time and place and upgrades and all that.
When it got a lot larger too, like the scale of their project, because originally it was literally meant to be just, okay, let's just swap the character and you play as a different character. But they realized through making it that no, we actually have to retool some of the levels so that Plague Knight can move through them. And then with Spectre Knight, it was completely a different game, and same thing, King Knight. Yeah, good call.
Wario games?
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah, they're their own thing, but that's still like
I mean, he's just a greedy boy for the most part. I don't know how evil that is, but
he's the antagonist. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be the main arch-villain, but yeah.
It would be cool to play a Ganon-centric game that isn't Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I don't know how it would play out, but that would be interesting to see that whole point of view of how like the evil is reincarnated and what you go through and all that.
That would be a fun one.
I like my Pokemon to be original 151. So what if we did a Team Rocket game?
Where you
steal
people's Pokemon?
Yeah.
Well,
or you go through the events. Like, dumb reference. This is the only thing I can think. Lion King 1.5, it followed Timon or Pumbaa or whatever through the events of Lion King 1.
Was that the plot of that one?
Yeah.
All right. I got you. I'm following.
All right. So you just follow Team Rocket through the plots of through the plot of Pokemon Red or Blue or Green or Yellow or whatever. Yeah, and you just at the last minute turn it fictional if it was, because it's not already fictional, but turn the thing your way. Make Team Rocket prevail or whatever.
You get the trash. You get the trash Cerulean City.
Yeah, and you get to beat the shit out of the hero, and then you recruit Gary. And you make it real wild.
So murder Ash.
Yeah.
Shoot him in cold blood and make Brock and Misty watch.
Well, don't shoot him in cold blood. There's no shooting, but Meowth can
you
bite
can whip
his
him.
head off or something.
All right.
Or strangle him to death with your Arbok.
You can poach Slowpokes.
No, original 151. Not a. What the hell is a pseudo Wudo?
All right, but Matt, have you ever had Game Shark for your Game Boy?
No.
So there was a code you could put in to where you could capture your opponent's Pokemon. And so I had like infinite Master Balls. At every fight, I would just capture the Pokemon, and I would get experience for defeating them. And, they would just get transferred to my. I don't know if I had to have an empty party, or at least like one Pokemon in like 5 slots, or if it would just go straight to my PC. But I clearly remember just capturing like gym leaders Pokemon or like Elite Four Pokemon.
That's pretty good.
All right, sorry. While you were discussing the Game Shark, which is great, by the way, I looked up a pseudo Wudo, and it is as dumb as I thought it was going to look.
Yeah, of course.
What type do you think it is?
Fake wood. No, I like the idea of you could make that Team Rocket game a reality with. Actually, there has to be a ROM hack that does that exact thing, right?
Probably.
Oh, it is.
And then with
it is a rock Pokemon and not plant.
I know.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk more about ROM hacks next week. So maybe between now and then, I'm gonna see if I can find a Team Rocket ROM hack. Between now and then, rather. If you want more of the Free Cheese podcast, you can keep on listening wherever you've been listening. You can go to thefreecheese.com, find other episodes and old stuff we did, videos and things throughout history. Podcast at thefreecheese.com is an email address you can send your letters and questions to. You can follow everybody on Twitter. Mark is at @aug_mental, Matt at MattyIce131. The Free Cheese is at SomeFreeCheese. That's it. What are you guys playing this week?
I am finishing 15.
Oh.
I am at, I think, what is determined, I'm doing this in air quotes, the bad chapter. I can see maybe why people don't, I've only started, but I can see maybe why people did not like it that much, but I'm having fun with it. But yeah, I'm going to see that through, I think. I have a feeling I have that beat, because that end of that game ramped, it was like chapter 8, and then all of a sudden I feel like I'm like right there at the end now, in a couple of hours. It went fast. Yeah, I have a feeling I'll have that beat by the time this even goes up. So we'll talk about that, I think, next week. And then I've been hesitant to do it, but I got to play the last one of the franchise. I think I'm going to start in Dark Souls 3 this week.
It's time, right?
It's time, yeah.
Yeah.
Mark?
I'm definitely want to finish up Kana. Feeling pretty good about that. I want to try I forget everything that Shadow dropped from the Nintendo Switch Direct, whatever.
I think the big thing was there was the demo for the new Yoko Taro game.
Yeah, I want to try that.
Castlevania Advanced Collection, and then that ActRaiser remake.
Yeah, pulling a trigger on Castlevania, that might happen. Unless something else comes up.
It's a solid collection. I have to try that Yoko Taro game still. It's on Switch, but I just haven't. Every time I've thought about a card game, I've just grabbed my iPad and played Magic. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna keep going through some of the Castlevania stuff. I gotta go back to WarioWare. I got through the main story, but there's still more to be done and more to play. I'm trying to cautiously approach Castlevania though, because Metroid is right around the corner, and I don't want to out Metroid myself before Metroid. So we'll see. But yo, hit me on Magic. That's what I say. Well, that's it for us. Until next time, thank you for... Nope, that's not how this one goes. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, listener, for listening. That's how this goes. We'll see you next time. Bye.